Oh, what's this? Hey, honey.
I picked you up a few things at the grocery store because I know how important it is for you to stay on track following your high-carb, low-fat vegan diet. I'm always thinking of you, babe. I wasn't really sure what your favorite carbs are, so I figured I'd pick you up a couple of different ones to choose from. I figured I can't go wrong with buns or bagels. They're super high carb, just the way you like it. I also grabbed you some fries because I see you eat them all the time, so I figured you can never have too many of those. Oh, and don't worry, I didn't forget about your sweet tooth. I got you some Oreos for a treat, and I Googled it to make sure that they were vegan. I'll see you after work, babe. Love, your thoughtful husband.
He clearly doesn't know what I eat in a day. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Stasia and I'm following a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based diet by Dr. John McDougall called the Starch Solution. If you'd like to learn more about my weight loss journey, I'll post my most recent weight loss update in the link below, so be sure to check that out. So if you're also following the Starch Solution or on a plant-based weight loss journey yourself, and you'd like to connect with other people doing the same thing, or you're here to learn more, then be sure to join our Facebook group. Lots of good conversation going on there. I will put the link in the description below. All right, guys, so today I'm going to be showing you what I ate today, so let's get in the kitchen.
Okay, so for today's breakfast, we're going to be using one cooked sweet potato. I know that may not look the most appetizing, but I cook my sweet potatoes really slow to release all the sugars, and it is delicious. Secondly, we're going to be using about half of a banana. We are going to be mixing these two together to create a delicious sweet potato breakfast bowl. I'm going to be using my Breville blender to mix these two. I'm looking for a really smooth consistency, but if you're short on time or you just don't care for it to be perfectly smooth, I suppose it could be mashed as well. Next, I'm going to be adding just a splash of unsweetened almond vanilla milk. You don't want to add too much, just enough to get it to mix nicely. You want the consistency thick enough that you might have to give your blender a few shakes. But once it gets going, it should be fine on its own and should look something similar to this. And that's it. There's nothing else to it. Look at this delicious, creamy, sweet potato breakfast bowl. If you like cinnamon, put some on top. It makes this meal even more magical. This literally tasted like pumpkin pie pudding to me. It was so good, it could even be eaten as a dessert. I personally don't have a huge appetite for breakfast, so this amount just hit the spot nicely for me. But if you need more, this can always be paired with more fruit or vegetables on the side. Okay, so for lunch, we're going to start with using 2 cups of quinoa to make our beautiful, colorful quinoa salad. I completely forgot to rinse my quinoa off, but I highly recommend doing so. So here, I'm just adding 3 cups of water to my 2 cups of quinoa. Next, you want to give it a quick stir, put a lid on it, and bring it to a boil. Once the quinoa is boiling, you can turn it down to a low temperature around 3 or 4 and let it simmer for about another 20 to 25 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. Okay, so don't let all these ingredients overwhelm you. It was literally what I had inside my fridge. Like most of my recipes, there are no hard rules, so you can use whatever you like or whatever you have on hand. Today I'm using 2 medium tomatoes, about 2 cups of broccoli, 3 small shredded carrots, 3 stalks of celery, a half an onion, and 2 cloves of garlic, along with 1 whole green pepper, a quarter of an avocado, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of banana peppers, as well as about 3 to 4 pickles chopped up. That was a lot to say, and I certainly did not do it in one breath. Keep in mind, I'm making quite a large salad because I would like to have some leftovers, but you can certainly adjust the portions to just make a personal size salad. Once your quinoa is completely cool, you can transfer it into a large salad bowl. And now for the fun and easy part, we're just going to dump all of our chopped veggies into our quinoa. Talk about beautiful food, look at all of these gorgeous colors. This dish is almost too beautiful to be eaten alone. If it wasn't for COVID, I would say it would make for a great dish to bring to someone else's house. Well, one day, we'll keep it in our back pocket. Enough dreaming and on to the dressing. Okay, so it literally doesn't get any easier than this. I'm just going to be using the juice of 3 lemons, and that's it. I know, my recipes are so complicated. Please forgive me. After I squeezed the juice out, I put the lemon juice through a fine mesh strainer, and then I poured it on the salad, and that's about it. Give the salad a good mix, and look at all that beautiful food come together. I love me some garlic salt, but if you're watching your salt and you don't want to use that, feel free to use whatever spices you want. I'm not too fancy when it comes to spices, so some garlic salt and ground black pepper was good enough for me. This beautiful, simple salad is so filling and so nutritious. Just look at that. For the purpose of calorie density, I decided to put this quinoa salad on top of a bed of mixed greens. Then I topped it off with some delicious, low acidic balsamic vinegar. If you guys have never tried this, it is a game changer. It's not like regular balsamic vinegar. It actually has a really sweet flavor and goes with just about anything. It comes in different flavors, so if you're interested, I will post the link in the description below. Guys, like seriously, this is what we eat to lose weight. It just does not get better than this. So I learned this next recipe from a close friend's yaya many years ago, and I've been making it ever since. The only difference is that I leave out the olive oil, but seriously, I cannot even taste the difference. Okay, so I'll be using 1 whole onion, about 2/3 of this bag of French beans, and 2 bunches of fresh dill weed. I should mention that the dill weed has to be fresh as it's everything in this recipe, and dried dill weed just will not do it. We will also be using about half of this bag of kale, the whole zucchini, and about half of the container of spinach. You could also use just kale alone, or just spinach alone, or any other type of cooked green. Just double up the amount if you do. And lastly, we're going to be using a can of regular tomato sauce. Okay, so we're going to start by just chopping this onion up into bite-sized pieces. Next, we are going to cut the ends off of all the green beans. You can also use frozen green beans in which the ends are already chopped off, and it's 1,000 times easier just to dump the bag in. Completely up to you, but either will work. So we are going to start by water sauteing our onions for about 5 to 6 minutes. While those are cooking, we're going to get our other vegetables ready. So again, we're going to chop the zucchini up into bite-sized pieces. Once the onions start to slightly brown, you can go ahead and start by throwing in the zucchini and then the green beans. At this point, you might need to add a little extra water and continue to water saute them for about another 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, you can go ahead and throw in the whole can of tomato sauce. At this point, you want to make sure that all the veggies are really well covered in the sauce, as we have a ton of greens coming our way. Once they are covered, we are going to stuff this pot almost to the top with greens. We are going to put in about an equivalent to a whole head of kale and about 5 to 7 cups of spinach. If your pot is basically overflowing with greens, then you are doing it right. But don't worry, these greens cook down to almost nothing, to the point that no one would even imagine how many are actually in there. So at this point, you just really want to work them into the meal and get them covered really nicely in the sauce. So the last thing we want to do is add our fresh dill. Be sure to wash it very good and to chop it into bite-sized pieces. Also, try to remove as many of the little stems from the dill weed that you can, but if you have some cooked into it, it's no problem. So the last step is adding salt. Now, if you're watching your salt intake, then you don't have to worry about adding any. However, if you're not, then I must say the salt and the dill weed is what makes this meal amazing. If salt isn't a problem for you, then even adding a little extra salt really brings out the flavor of everything. You want to let these veggies simmer on medium heat for about 30 to 40 minutes or until all the veggies are soft. And that's it, dinner is served. This dish pairs beautifully on a bed of rice, or you can even put it over boiled potatoes. You can even eat this dish on its own. These easy Greek veggies are so good. I have yet to make it for anyone who did not like it. Every time I make this for dinner, my kids can smell it and they get so excited. And even for my son who has special needs and has some sensory issues, I actually just blend this up in the blender with a little bit of water and it makes for a wonderful sauce. This truly is a great dish for the whole family. So for my plate, I actually topped it off with some nutritional yeast. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It is literally impossible to walk away from this meal still feeling hungry. I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as my family does. Okay, so I'm having a hard time deciding between my breakfast and my late night snack today. They were both so delicious. So all you need is one banana that we're going to slice down the middle and throw into our air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can put it in the oven at 300 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until it starts to slightly brown. For our strawberry sauce, we're going to throw about 1 cup of frozen strawberries into a medium saucepan on medium heat. No need to add any water. Then we are going to add just a splash of vanilla extract, I would say roughly about 1 teaspoon. We are going to mix it together and then let the strawberries simmer for another 6 or 7 minutes. Once the strawberries are starting to cook down, you want to take a fork and slightly mash them. It's completely up to you how chunky or smooth you want this sauce to be. If you ask me, it doesn't really matter, it tastes delicious either way. So I let these bananas bake in the air fryer for roughly 6 or 7 minutes. As you can see, you want them to be slightly browned. Ooh, now we're gonna add our strawberry vanilla sauce on top. Oh my goodness, so good. Sorry, I'm just reliving the moment and getting a little too excited. Anyhow, cover those bananas up with as much or as little of the strawberry sauce as you desire. For me, I was going big or going home. So lastly, I topped it off with this royal fig balsamic vinegar. Again, this stuff is amazing. Very sweet, not like what you would think for regular vinegar. Again, I will post the links below in the description if you're interested in checking out the vinegars. I use them on so many different things. So that's it, guys. It may not look like it came from a 5-star restaurant, but let me tell you, it sure tasted like it did. Oh yeah, so one downfall to this recipe is that it only lasts about 2 minutes. I hope you guys enjoy that whole 2 minutes just as much as I did.
Okay, so there you have it, another peek into some of my Starch Solution meals. It's so nice when you can find meals that not only you enjoy, but the whole family can too. I find it's really helpful to make flavorful dishes like the Greek veggies and rice dish I showed you. There is no way that anyone could miss the added fats with that one. So if you're new here and you'd like to follow along my weight loss journey, as well as get all my tips and tricks that I'm learning along the way, then please be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.